People who were engaged at one point but never got married. What happened? The night he proposed, he left my house and went straight to his ex's for a catch-up dinner, but slipped and fell and accidentally fucked her. He cheated before we got married and I found out. I thank the stars every fucking day I didn't marry him. I finally left him after he hit the dog. Years of hitting me both physically and emotionally were ignored. But the moment I heard my dog yipe, I smartened up. We had like 6 miscarriages. At the end of the relationship he said something to me like, "It's just so hard. I look at your face and I feel like I see nothing but 6 dead babies. Can't really come back from that one. I mean, some people can. We couldn't." Turns out she liked vagina as much as I did. It was toxic. And a month before we supposedly got married, I broke my foot at an event I was helping. She was there too, but just partying. When I told her I probably broke my foot, she said I shouldn't be a little baby and just walk home since the party was over. I couldn't stand on it. She helped me a couple meters forward and then she just pushed me. That night my mother took me to the hospital. And that night I decided all the lies and mental abuse was enough. And ended it. Best decision of my life. 3 months ago and I'm finally getting back to being me. He left me for a coworker he claimed for over a year was like a sister to him. They have a kid now. I have a better boyfriend. Came home for lunch one day to surprise her. Surprise was on me as she was in the middle of fucking her coworker on my couch. I loved that couch. The Holy Spirit came to him in a dream and told him that he couldn't marry me because I wasn't a virgin. Cheated on me? A lot. He left me 6 months before the wedding. In his defense, he did pass away and one day I will probably be really angry with him for it. The longer we lived together leading up to the wedding, the more he showed his true colors. One day while I was cooking dinner for us, he started screaming at me, like an inch from my face, and called me a "see you next Tuesday." Something about it snapped some sense into me. I walked out and never went back. She moved home to Germany to care for her dying mother. And by dying mother, she meant some oil sheik she met in Dubai. I had a friend who was engaged. One day, she had a fight with her fiancé and drove from his house mad. On her way home, she ended up in a bad car accident. She tried to call him several times. Wouldn't pick up. Her family tried. Nothing. Her friends tried. Nothing. His friends tried. Nothing. His family tried. Nothing. Dude was quite serious about giving her the silent treatment. Needless to say, she didn't think he handled that well and broke it off. She left me for our young lecturer. We're still technically engaged, but we never wanted a wedding. We met way late in life. I'm 50. She's in her mid-40s. No kids. And if we get legally married, the government fucks with her disability assistance, so she is my spouse, my partner, and my soulmate. But we don't feel the need to get married. But I do have a living will just in case. We will be celebrating our 10-year anniversary early next year. Got engaged to my pregnant girlfriend 4 months before the wedding. She calls it off saying she doesn't feel the love anymore. A week after that, I came home early from my second job to surprise her and see if we can work things out, and found her in bed with the guy who would have been my best man. Turns out they've been shacking up for 6 months and she planned to leave me for him as soon as he broke things off with his wife, who was to be her maid of honor. I decided to speed up the process by telling his wife what I found, and instead of leaving her, the guy ditches my fiancé to try to salvage his marriage. After my dad died, my mom got engaged to another guy. She told me years later that she never intended to marry him. But she was a bit traditional and thought it would make her look better if she were engaged to a guy she was living with. No idea if the guy had the same idea. They broke up 7 years later and I haven't talked to him since. Cancer took her before we got married. It will be 10 years in December. We graduated from kindergarten to grade 1. Biggest heartbreak of my life. I got sober and recognized some things that helped me realize I didn't want to marry that person. Still sober and happily married to the love of my life. She had been fighting depression and went to stay with her family a little bit before marriage. But she started having horrible fights with her family and had a mental breakdown 2 months before the wedding and said she wasn't able to handle being a wife or in a relationship and ran to be single and disappear. I'm married to someone else now. But in 2016 I got engaged and pregnant. In that order. I had a miscarriage and he broke up with me about 5 minutes after I fainted from the blood loss at a family garden party. My family. Not his, that he told me to suck it up and go to during it. He started dating my cousin, who he met at the party. About 6 weeks later. They're married now. She died due to seizures. 3 a.m. she was home alone. She woke up and got the seizure and unfortunately hit her head against a wall. 7 a.m. she was supposed to show up at her parents' house to drop off the dog before work. She didn't. 9 a.m. her parents went to check on her. Dog was fine. But she was unresponsive. 9:15 a.m. she was declared deceased in the scene. 10 a.m. I was at work and I got a call from her father. I lost it right there. It was back on 2012 but still I'm not over it yet. He started hanging out with the people from work and he decided to start using. So, I left. He had a baby with my friend. He decided to recommit to his faith. He's JW and tried to get me to convert. I refused. He then tried to tell me I couldn't go out with my friends. I went out and he had a temper tantrum that would put my 3-year-old niece to shame. He trashed the house and drove to his parents' house 2 states away. I got all the deposits back that I could. He texted me on what would have been our wedding day to remind me what a mistake I made. I sent him a picture of me and several of my friends that I was told I was not allowed to see. Having a very fancy sushi dinner with the deposit money. His wife called me. She cheated and eventually chose him instead. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Went back to school, got a career, and met a wonderful person to spend my life with. He refused to get a job after 5 years together. And I realized I would be paying for everything on my measly teacher salary. Was able to buy my own condo a month after breaking it off. She had this really annoying habit of fucking other men behind my back. Suupppperrrr annoying. She cheated. I procrastinated on both our lives. Spending more time convincing myself I'll get there without actually getting there. I regret wasting her time. I was going to say Dave happened but use the actual name of the chap she cheated in me with. But I cannot. Because I cannot remember his name. This is a great moment for me. Immediate update: it was Patrick. Damn it. Got sick and then disabled after 2 brain surgeries. I couldn't work and wasn't getting much money from disability. I quickly became a burden according to her. I moved out and then back home with my folks. I had to leave all my friends behind as well as I moved out of state. It was good timing though for me to help my parents as they were old and sick. I became my folks' full-time caretaker and have no clue what my ex is doing. I have no ill will towards my ex and understand why we had to part ways.